Okay, we're going to progress on now and continue building upon what we've looked at with jQuery. And we are going to work with jQuery UI. So we're going to do a little demo right now, adding jQuery UI to an existing web page that I've given you. So jQuery UI is another JavaScript library, and this one is specific for adding user interfaces to our site. So if you go to our class site, you can see I'm on the class site right now, and I'm on week 6, and there is a week 6 zip right here that you can download. So I've already downloaded that, decompressed it, and I put it out here in my MAD-T314 folder, so you can see it right here. Images, and there's my index file, a couple other different pieces right there. So this is going to be our starting point that we're going to add to right now. So I'm going to flip over to Dreamweaver so we can pick up there. Okay, so this is the index file that I have supplied to you. So it's pretty straightforward if you look at it. I've got it in split view right now. You will notice right away that I have my CSS sitting right here in the file, so I don't have to flip to other files to see that. Very basic at this point. Basically, I have a container wrapped around everything. I have a content column on the left and a sidebar column on the right. They're floating. There's just a little bit of background color. That's about all that's going on there. If we go look through the file as well, there's my container. I've got the content div there, which is running down the left-hand side. I have an unordered list for navigation, so that's how we've been creating navigation, is in an unordered list. They're dummy links right now. They're not pointing to anything in particular. And then within that div, I have 3 different divs that they're Greeking right now, but we're going to use those for different data areas. Below that, if you slide on down, you'll find my sidebar, which is floating off on the right there. It has a div in it with some content, and I've got H3s in it. So you can see the Chico and the Reading H3, and then I've got divs with just text content in them. So pretty basic file layout right there. I do have a second file open right now. You might want to go ahead and open it up. It's just called index-code.txt, and it has some samples, some sample text or code that I want to look at the end. So you can go ahead and get that one open right now to work with in a few minutes. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a tab interface and also an accordion interface to this page. But we're not going to have to code a lot because we get to use jQuery UI to do it. So it does a lot of the coding for us. A lot of it already exists in our library there. So, and then we're going to be using this unordered list right here. Those will actually become our tabs. Okay. So the first thing we really need to do is we need to add jQuery to our file. So you notice if I slide up here to the top, okay, there's my head section. I have styles in here, but I have nothing else in here right now. So I am going to, after my style sheet, I want to go right there and I want to add jQuery. So to get jQuery, of course, I've got a choice. I can either download the file and put it in my root folder, or I can reference it out on the internet. So using the CDN out there, I could just make reference to it and it will pull it live. So I'm going to go that route. I'm going to flip over to the PDF we were using in class this last week, and on slide 6, it shows me the script that the text that I would use for the script right here. Right here, this is the code that I would use to link out on the internet for it. So since I want to go with that one, I'm just going to come in here and highlight that and copy and flip back over to Dreamweaver. And I just need that to go in my head section up there. So I'm going to paste it right there. So I'm loading my styles first, and then I'm coming down here and I'm adding the code to reference jQuery out on the internet. Okay, so we have that one in place now. I'm going to do a quick save. Now my next step, I want to go to jQueryui.com. So I already have it open in my browser over here. Um, if you don't, on our class site, there's a link to it right there. And so there is jQueryui.com. So they have a full website set up here showing us all the different capabilities that it has, basically what is built into the library that we can take advantage of. If you look down the left-hand column here, you can see lots of different things that it can do. So we've got some utilities and some effects down here. We've got widgets, which is what we're going to be using, and they have some interactions up here. So we're going to use the Accordion widget here towards the top and the tabs widget down here towards the bottom. So let's go look at them real quick. I'm going to click on Accordion. And once that page loads, you'll see that I actually have a functioning sample here. So see, that works really nicely. So I like the looks of that. Let's also come down here and look at the tabs one. And you see that this is also functioning code on the page. So now I have a tabbed interface. So when I flip between the tabs, I get different content showing up. So maybe you can start to imagine where we're going with this. So we have different areas of content on our page, and we're going to split it into sections like this, giving us a better user interface. Our page isn't so long. You could flip between different areas. Okay, so those are the two we're going to use. That's where you can find them there on the sidebar there. The next step, though, is we need to go pick a theme. So up at the top of the page, in the main navigation up here, you will find it. We'll find themes right there, so click on that. So what they have is they have basic themes built, and you can just use those, to get the look you want, or of course you can always modify them from there. So when you click on themes, you come to theme roller, and then over here on the side you see this graphic. Find where it says gallery right here towards the upper left. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and it shows me a bunch of samples down here. So basically you can flip through these and find something that you like. Probably the easiest thing is if you're already working on a site, you would look for something that's kind of similar to what you're working on, or you might just choose to pick something kind of plain so you can completely style it yourself. They do have the one called base up here. I was flipping through these, and I think I like smoothness right here, so I am going to click on smoothness. It changes my display here, and so what I have now is this is a sample of the CSS that comes with smoothness. So when I click on these, you can see how they interact, what they look like. I've got buttons, all kinds of different things. So up here at the top was Accordion, which we're using. Down here are tabs, so I can see how the tabs work and what they look like. So they show you lots of different examples down here. So I'm going to go with smoothness, but you can pick whichever one you want. Okay, it doesn't really matter for this demo right now. So the main thing is pick one and then remember its name. We're not going to do anything with it at this very moment. We will in just a moment. So pick your name, remember your name. I'm going to go with smoothness right here. Okay, at this point, now that we've picked that one, we need to go back to the home page. So I'm just going to come up here and click on the jQuery UI logo. Back to the home page, and we're at the point now that we actually need some more code to go on our page. And so over here towards the right hand side, you see the download buttons over here, okay? And I'm going to go for the custom download. So the quick ones would give us just the jQuery UI, but I'm going to get CSS as well. So go to the custom download and click on that button. Let's get this page to load here. Okay. Lots of options for us now if you scroll down that page. These are all the various things that it is capable of doing, okay? We're only going to try out two of them right now. So, first, up at the top, what version do I want to use? So, 1.12.1 is stable, so I'm going to go with that. These are older legacy versions there, so I'm just going to leave it at the current stable version. Now we slide on down, and this has to do with which pieces of it we want to use. So they have pre-selected everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to where it says components, and I'm going to uncheck toggle all. So it's basically going to turn everything off. So now I have nothing selected. So with nothing selected, now I can actually just go select the ones that I want to use. So right here under widgets, I'm going to select Accordion. and I am going to select tabs, and you'll notice that up towards the top it has selected the bits that it needs to go with those. Okay, so basically I am just downloading the minimum amount of code I need to do what I'm going to do, not pulling any extra. The last thing before I download, down here at the bottom, there's theme again. And here you can select whichever one you have selected or that you wanted to use. I was picking smoothness, so I'm going to select smoothness. And now I can come down here and click on the download button and let it pull my custom code down for me. Okay, there it goes. It has downloaded. I'm done with this for now, so I need to go get that file. Let's hide this away. Let's hide that away. Ooh, lots of things to hide. Let's get my code right here. Okay, so that's the file I just downloaded. Here's the week 6 folder I'm working in. And let's decompress those files. Okay, downloaded a bunch of different things here, so let's see what we've got. I need a handful of things from here. Okay. So first, I need images from here. Okay, so remember this is the folder I'm working in here, week 6. They have an images folder with a number of things in here, so I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to move them over into my images folder. Okay. Okay, so that one's empty. Now there are 3 other files that I need in here. So first of all, I need the JavaScript code, the library itself. So that is jQuery UI JavaScript. So right here, jQuery UI JavaScript. So I need that one, or .js. I'll bring that one over here. And then I need some CSS. So there's jQuery UI CSS right there. And then I have jQuery UI theme CSS. So let's see, jQuery UI theme CSS. So that is specific to the theme that I selected. Okay, so I have 3 new files here that I've added. And at this point, I'm done with this code. You can leave it sitting there, throw it away, whatever you would like to do. Okay, so now I have the images, 2 CSS files, and 1 JavaScript file from them, that being the library itself. So now I am ready to head back over into Dreamweaver. We can start working on our file again. So I still have my cursor up here in the head section. I need to add a couple things up here. You notice I'm right below. There's the script line right there for jQuery itself. Now I need to tie in those other files that I just had. So first, let's get that new JavaScript file they gave us. So I'm just going to work in code right here. So I need a script tag. Okay. And then scripts use src. You can see it on the line above. So src equals, this thing will even let me browse. So I could go browse. And that looks like the right spot. Let's see, 314, week 6. Okay, this is where we're working. And I was currently after the JavaScript file. So this is the jQuery-ui.js. I'm going to open that one. Okay, so that now I'm linked to that one right there. So I can close that tag. And then I can actually put a close tag on it. Okay, so the /script. Okay, so now it has access to that. After that, I need to tie in the CSS files. So those use a link tag. So do link, and then link uses href. Okay, so href equals, and again I can browse. And first I want the jQuery UI CSS. So here's jQuery UI CSS. Okay, so that one is there. And it also uses the rel equals, and then we use style sheet to let it know what it's looking at. So let's slide down here. There's style sheet. They put it in double quotes, so I just need to close the bracket on that. Okay, one more. Link, again, href equals, I'm going to browse, This time I'm looking for jQuery UI theme CSS. jQuery UI theme CSS. Do that one, then the rel equals, go down and get style sheet right there, and close my bracket. Okay. So that should take care of things. So I now have the script that picks up the jQuery code. I have the script that gets jQuery UI. I have link, which gives me the jQuery UI CSS, and the link that gives me jQuery UI theme CSS. So now I have all of my external files attached to this one. And in fact, I should go save. So you can see them all up here at the top where we're accustomed to seeing them in Dreamweaver. Okay, now we're ready to actually start on the jQuery code. Okay, so probably best if we start with the doc ready jQuery code, if you recall that from last week. Again, I'm going to flip back over to the Acrobat file because this is where I was showing you samples. And on page 13, slide 13, okay, so remember this was the JavaScript, the window on load, but this is the jQuery version right here below. Now, if you go to the next one, this is the abbreviated one, okay? I'm going to go with the longer one right now, just as we get used to it. So you see that code right there, the document ready function. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to copy that code. And now back over to Dreamweaver. So again, I'm working in the head section of my document. Okay, so there we go. There's my head section. I'm going to come down here to right before the close head tag. And that code I just selected and copied, that is jQuery. Well, it's a mix of JavaScript to jQuery. But it needs to go in script tags. So let's put my script tags in first. Okay. I'm going to hit return and close out. Okay, so there's the script tags for me to put code into. And I left a line in between, and I'm going to paste right there in between. And I'm going to hit a couple tabs just to make that make a little more sense. Okay, so now I now have the script running in here, and this says when the document is ready, run this function. And right now, there is just a comment in there, okay? But that's where I am going to make references into my file and set up my accordion and my tabs. Okay. So, let's see. Let's actually start on that code now. So, to do that, I'm going to highlight this comment right here, and I'm going to replace it. You can delete it, or you can type right over it. And the first one that I want to do is I want to reference an ID called cities. So I start with a $sign. I then do the parenthesis, my double quote, okay, and then I'm going to do pound cities. Okay, so that's going to be an ID on my page. It's not on my page yet. We'll put the reference in place in a moment. But this one goes and selects the ID of cities. Okay, it finished my quotes and my parentheses for me, so after that parenthesis, I want to do the period, and now I'm going to type accordion, A-C-C-O-R-D-I-O-N, and I'm going to open and close parentheses and a semicolon. So this is the same format we've been using, okay? Remember the $sign shows us we're using jQuery, that I'm selecting the ID of cities, and then what I'm doing to it is called Accordion, and that is part of jQuery UI. Okay, we did not have that capability before. Okay, so that's going to apply the Accordion function to the ID of cities. Okay, so now let's go look at, we're actually working on the side over here in the sidebar. So that's where I'm going to put the accordion in. So if you come look over here, I'm going to click there. There's my sidebar. Okay, again, looking at code, but you can see the preview over there. There's my sidebar, and within it, I have this unnamed div. And this unnamed div wraps everything that I want to have working in Accordion. So that's where I want that ID to go. So I'm going to go to that unnamed div just below the sidebar div, and I'm going to add ID equals double quote, cities. Okay, so now it can reference that point. Make sure you don't typo it. Okay, so that one is now named cities. Okay, within the div, if you look in the div, I have an H3 here for Chico and an H3 down here for Reading. And after each H3, there is a div with some text in it. So how this is working, because that's really all I need to add to it. The H3s are the accordion labels, and the div following the H3 is the content for that accordion. So in other words, I have this one for Chico. That'll be the label for an accordion, and that content will be what expands in the div there. And then I have another one for Reading, and the content in that div is what expands or collapses. All of this is specified in the jQuery UI documentation. Okay, so I know I just told you this, and you might wonder why we use an H3 or a div tag, and that's just how they wrote the library. So that's what it's looking for in there. Okay, so at this point I'm going to do a save, and let's come up here and change to live, and you'll see how it changed my visual over here. So now it looks like I have these clickable spots. I'm going to click on Chico, and you see that it expanded. I'm going to click on Reading, and you can see how it expanded. Now I'm clicking off of it because it's showing me all these tags and things, so I don't want to see that. But you see how those are working now. Okay, so I have a working accordion on my page now, just with that little bit of code. So not a whole lot of code there. Okay, let's keep moving. We're actually almost done. We just want to go add some tabs now. So now I want to look over here at this side, and I'm going to go back over to design, easier to work on my page. So I've got all this over here on the left-hand side. So my UL, okay, there's my links that I'm going to click on. Let's go find that in code. Here they are down here. Okay, here's my UL wrapping that. I have the div of content. That's the whole column. I have an H1. This unnamed div right here, right before what is going to turn into tabbed navigation. That unnamed div is referencing, or excuse me, the div contains everything that I want to use the tabbed interface on. Okay, so that'll contain everything. So what I want to do is I want to select that div, and I am going to go edit that one. Okay, so I am going to add ID equals, use double quotes, and say tabs. Okay, so that's my reference point right there. So we're going to apply tabs to that whole area. Then my links that are in here, okay, so they're all within LIs. You notice they're not pointing to anything. They just have dummy links in them, and they're pointing to the pound sign right now. So I need to point them to something, and they actually need to point to the following divs. So let me scroll up just a little bit. You'll see that here's the first LI with its link right there, and it is going to work with this first div. The second div right below it is going to work with the second link, and so forth, third link to the third div. So I need to point them to them. So going back to my first link up here, where it currently just has the pound on it, this was for Bidwell Park, I'm going to change the pound, and I'm going to add after it and just say tab 1. Okay, so you see right how it adds it like that? I'm going to change that to tab 1. Now, I need to do it on all three of these, so let's go to number 2 and make it tab 2. Go to the third one and make it tab 3. Okay, so tabs 1, 2, and 3 in order. Make sure I leave the pound signs in there. And that's because I'm going to put those references down here on the divs. So go to my first div. I'm going to say div, and I'm going to add ID equals, double quote, and do tab 1. Okay, so you see this first link up here actually points to the first div. I'm going to go to my second one and change it to say ID equals, double quote, tab 2. Okay. And as I'm sure you've already guessed on the third one, I'm going to say div ID equals, double quote, tab 3. So if you haven't used this before, the way these typically work, if I wasn't doing a tabbed interface, but if you create links, that point to the pound sign in a name, it looks for an ID of that name, and it'll just scroll the page to that point, okay? So those are just anchor points within my page. In this case, because it's adding the extra jQuery code from the library, it's going to make them tabbed interfaces. Okay, so again, this is part of jQuery UI from their documentation, that what I need to do is when I want to set it up, I surround everything in a div. The first thing in the div is the unordered list that has links. Those links reference the following divs, and so these links will be tabs, and the following divs, the ones they point to, will work within the tabbed interface. We'll see that in a moment. Okay, I've labeled everything I need to there. Now I just need to go back up to my head section and put the last of my code in. So again, here's the script area I'm working in. I've got my document ready function right here. It has the accordion in it. So after the accordion, I'm going to add the tab one. So $, parenthesis, double quote, and in this case I named it tabs. So pound tabs within there. Okay, you can see it's right there. It's named tabs. So make sure this is named tabs. Pound tabs because it's an ID. Then after the close parenthesis, I add dot tabs. Okay, because that is the function name coming from jQuery UI. Open close parentheses and put my semicolon. Okay, so that one goes and grabs that area and applies the tabs code to it. Okay, let's do a quick save. And let's go up and go live. And you see that I now have a tabbed interface on the left. So as I click on the tabs, it changes which area of content that I have visible. So now I have both that working and I have my accordion interface working over here. Even better yet, let's go pull it up in a browser. I'm going to go preview in Chrome because I have that open. There we go. I can see it working in here without all the extra things that Dreamweaver wants to show me. So I can see my interface. So it's, it's decent looking right now, but of course I have full control over CSS. I forgot to mention that after the accordion, because I can go change any CSS there, I can change any CSS here, fully customizable. So I just picked one of their themes to give me a starting point on CSS, so I could go modify anything I wanted to. In fact, looking at it, I really don't like this gray background here, so I could, here, let's go back into design. Let's find where that is. There's my sidebar. Let's go to CSS Designer. Go to the current one. Sidebar, show set. And, oh, actually there it is. My background color is there. I wasn't sure if it was that or the cities one, so I'm just going to go delete that one and let it be on white for the moment. That looks a little better. So whatever I want to do, I could go modify this now. Yeah, I like the text up there. And then these sitting down here below. Okay, so we could go customize anything that we wanted to there. The one last thing I want to show you, we're basically done here, but there are some options as you go. And so this one other file I gave you called indexcode.txt, if you look in it, okay, there is all of the jQuery that we were using. Tabs is the same, but if you look in Accordion, it has some additional code to it. So Accordion was like tabs. It said accordion, open and close the parenthesis. In this case, we've added some to it. So if you look in here, let's see if I do that. No dictionary. Okay, I've highlighted the additional, oops, nope, I grabbed the wrong spot. Right there. There's the additional code that I have put on there. So basically, I can set the height style. I can say whether it's collapsible or whether it's active. So I've got some different variables I can set there. So I'm going to copy that inner piece right there. Go back to my other file. And an accordion between the parentheses, I'm going to paste it there. Okay. So the biggest difference that you'll see right away on this one, this collapsible true, let's reload this thing. Now I could click on Chico, I could click on Red Egg, or I could click off. nope, excuse me, I can click on Reading again and it'll close it. Before I had collapsible true, one of these was always open. Once I clicked on it, one would always remain open. But since I've added collapsible true, you can close them both. So you've got some different things that you can add on to them there. So anyway, this has been a quick demo on how we can integrate jQuery UI into an existing page. Of course, jQuery UI is a library building on top of the jQuery library just to simplify our use of JavaScript. So at this point, I would say you should probably go play with some of the different things, the different capabilities it has, and see how you can integrate this into your project.